another dev update video. I'm your lead developer, Becky Rose, for Space Force Commander. And yes, unusual surroundings this week. The coronavirus has hit and we're all in isolation, but we're still working away on your favourite web game. In this update, we're going to cover some of the little known features of Space Force Commander, and then we're going to take a look at some of the stuff we've got coming up in the development pipeline. We now have dots on your capital ship. So what do these dots mean? On this particular capital ship, you can see I actually have quite a few on screen here. And if I click the upgrade button, you'll see that this is a ship that has a lot of upgrades on it. And that is because each dot represents an upgrade on the capital ship. So now, at a glance, you can see how powerful a ship is, which is really quite useful when you're dealing with cruisers. Because one of the things cruisers do is when their hit point bar empties, they lose one of their dots and it replenishes. So, and the same is also true incidentally for the base stations. Now another feature which tends to confuse newer players, and I think people do work this one out eventually, but I'm going to cover it anyway, and that is fuel range. So if I select one of my fighter ships, we now get this big orange ring, and that shows the maximum fuel range of that particular fighter. Now when a ship runs out of fuel, it will return to the carrier at 2/3 speed, so you never lose a ship from running out of fuel unless the pilot also runs out of stamina at the same time. Now if a pilot runs out of stamina and its ship runs out of fuel, you'll get a life support failure and you do lose the ship. But the fuel range is useful because when a fighter runs out of fuel, its combat effectiveness is just ruined. Now, one feature that it's in the game, but it hasn't yet got its own button, and that will be coming very soon. But it's the escort feature. So I have a bomber here, and if I was to send this bomber off on a little mission, let's send it around the sun and then back to the carrier, you can set up an escort for that bomber. So if I take one of my interceptors here, I'm going to give it the move order, and I'm going to click on the unit I want to escort. You'll notice now in the bottom right, my waypoint order here says escort bomber. So that interceptor will now fly to the left of that bomber, and if you set up multiple things to escort, they'll form a ring around the vessel that's being escorted. So this is quite a nice way you can set up a big fighter wing attack on someone's carrier and make sure everything arrives at the same time. You can do it with the escort feature, but don't forget to set your standing order. You want your escorts to be on scramble or pursue targets. Another feature which came about recently is the ACE system. So if we take a look at my list of pilots here, you'll see that a number of them have this little ACE symbol next to their name, and one of them has 2 aces. So when a pilot gets to 5 kills, they are then an ace and all of their skills improve. Your ace of aces is the best active pilot that you have. So whoever the best pilot in your particular fleet is, if they are an ace, they become a double ace or an ace of aces. You'll also notice on the pilot list that you have the ability to award a medal. So I'm going to go to my top pilot here, Waldo, and I'm going to give him a medal. Ding! And now, whenever Waldo's out in the air, I can see that this is a pilot who has a medal. You can give up to 3 medals to each of your pilots. The medals don't improve their stats, but you know, sometimes these guys pull something off that you just think, you know what, he deserves a medal. Now, one feature we launched a few weeks ago is for alliances. So when you're in a large alliance, what you might find is your bottom bar of systems is now really big, because you might have between you many dozens and dozens of planets, possibly even hundreds. And how do you defend such large territory? So we had to look at that, and we introduced the Alliance Nexus system. And what this is a feature that allows any alliance to build a central system which connects to many of their other systems. So I'm looking at a Nexus system right now, and as we can see, there's this ring of alliance gates around the outside of the system. Now these alliance gates, they look a little different to jump gates, but they're functionally very similar in the sense that you just fly through them as if they were a jump gate. The difference is that these get created in your Nexus system to connect to all your other solar systems, but there are some special rules. Firstly, whichever system you designate as your Nexus system, you have to, between your alliance members, you must control 9 planets. And alliance gates are then built in your Nexus which connect to every other system in which your alliance controls 9 planets. If you lose control of a planet, or a planet is destroyed, then the alliance gate will be decommissioned. With the Nexus system, you can connect to all of the systems that you fully control. But what you might find when somebody comes and attacks you, you might find they very quickly try to grab one of your planets to get rid of your alliance gates to make it slower for you to respond. You'll have to go to an adjacent system and then jump across. It also means that your Nexus itself can be very vulnerable. You only need to lose one planet in your Nexus and the whole network will go down. So some players have been doing this, building Nexuses that are full of satellites and leaving cruisers and carriers permanently stationed there, as well as base stations, such as this one here. So one of the features we've been wanting to do for a little while now that is coming very soon is the light carrier. So let's take a look at this brand new unit to Space Force Commander. So this is a light carrier that has just been built. It comes with just one upgrade, the basic hangars upgrade. And it is about the size of a cruiser, a little bit more expensive, but it allows you to store fighters inside. And with the starting upgrade of one hangar upgrade, that allows you to store 2 fighters on board the light carrier. If you add more hangars, you'll be able to store 4 and then 6 fighters on board. So this makes it a fairly formidable boost to your frontline fleets. In addition to hangars, it can also take engine upgrades, armour and radar. There are no flak upgrades on this unit. It is militarily weak in a fight. You've got to protect it with the cruisers or with its own fighter defences. And it will only ever have one runway, which limits how many fighters you can get in the air at once. It is a light carrier. But with the addition of this new unit, we believe that this will create a bit of a change in the meta of the game, because at the moment what we're seeing is lots of carriers with big cruiser fleets around them. And we think with additional light carriers that people are going to build these light carriers and send them off with a couple of their cruisers, and now we're going to see different fleet compositions out in the universe, which we think is going to be really exciting. In addition to the light carrier, we are making some changes to the bomber. In the last update, we launched cruise missiles, and they've proved hugely popular, and they've worked pretty much as we intended. But we are starting to see the emergence of a new tactic, which is to launch cruise missiles defensively to clear out fighter swarms attacking our carriers. Now, there's nothing wrong with that tactic, but it has made the bomber a less valuable unit in the game, and we want to address that because the game is meant to be about sending these fighters out from your carriers. So what we've done to the bomber is we've given it some armour, because cruise missiles are not very good against armoured targets. We're going to start by just giving it a little bit of armour and see the impact that has on the gameplay. We've also made them a little bit quicker. They do need to be slower than fighters, so that fighters can intercept them, so they are still slower than the standard fighter unit, but now they are much closer in performance. And we've improved their base attack damage against capital ships, so they'll do a little more damage against capital ships. So that makes bombers a much more effective unit, and it also means that now we might begin to see some variance in tactics, maybe sending one bomber at a time because they're worried about a cruise missile assault, or perhaps doing the old Douglas Mader big wings and just swarming your capital ships with bombers, and you've got a unit now which won't just instantly vaporize at the first sign of a cruise missile. So those are the things that are coming incredibly soon, but after that we are not stopping. On the horizon we have the Officers' Mess. This is going to be a new club which will give you freedom and pilots and all the things you need to help your empire grow and flourish. And of course the much talked about economic update is being worked on, and once we've got the Officers' Mess out, that will become the main focus, getting this new major patch done, which is going to provide a lot of end game content for the players who've got their first few systems and are ready to sort of take their empires to the next level of galactic conquest. So that's it for this dev update. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you're staying safe out there with the coronavirus doing the rounds. So thank you for playing. Thank you for watching. I'll see you online, and let's go blow up some ships.